Hello everyone and welcome again to another episode of our tutorial series, the Unity Beginner Guide. I hope you are doing well, I hope you are having a beautiful week, and I hope you're doing okay and you doing the stuff that you like. In the last episode we learned, guys, how we can use the public and local and private variable. In this episode we are going to continue learning the stuff we stopped in it. So we did learn how to use the if statement. So in this episode we are going to learn another stuff, and that is the for loop and the while loop. So those type of loop, they are really important, guys. You may not use them or you may use them, I don't know, but we will see in the future what will happen. But this is the basics of C#, and we need to learn them, of course. So what is a for loop and what is a while loop? So let's take this slowly and let's see the first one, which is the for loop. The for loop is basically a block of code where you want to repeat something for a number of times, and you write it just like this. You do for just like this, and you open and you close your bracket like this, and you open those curly brackets like this, and this is how you write the for loop. So this is basically how you make a for loop. So inside those curly brackets is the code that we want to execute. So let me just do it like a comment here. This is let's give it a name, our code. So this is the code we want to execute, but to execute this code we need to give it a for loop, like how much time we want to repeat this condition here. So to create a for loop, it's easy. You just give it a variable. In our case I will just give it a variable with the I for iterative like this. You put a semicolon like this, and you give this I for how much time we want it to loop, and another one, and I, let's say plus just like this. But here we need to initialize this I. For example, I want this I to be equal to 0. So is as long as I is less this 10, we are going to execute our code here. So it means that for int is equal to 0, we are going to execute this code here. Let me just do something easy here. Let me just do a debug.log again, and I will open this, and I want to use the variable I have, which is I, and I will close it. So this code here, what will do, for the int I is equal to 0, and as long as I is less than 10, I want to do the I++. It means I will keep adding 1 to my I here. It means that I equal to 0, I will show the debug.log, and I will be equal to 1, and it will repeat, and it will test if my I is less than 10, then continue. So I will repeat it like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when I get to I equal to 10, it will check again, and it will see if I is less than 10, which is not correct because we have the same value. It means we are going to get outside our for loop. So let's give this a try and let's see how it will be executed. So I will save my script here, and I will go back to Unity, and I will execute this code and see what's going to happen here in the console. And as you can see here, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the numbers all up the way to 9, which mean the value of I here is equal to 10, and we get outside from the for loop. So why did I create this variable here, this int I? So we've talked about this before. This is a local variable. We just talked this about in the last episode. So for my I here, it's a local variable, will work only inside this block of code, and this is one of the use we can do to local variable. You can use it just inside this for loop, and it will not take a lot of your RAM and stuff like this. So this variable only accessible inside this for loop. So this is how we can use the for loop. It's really easy, guys. Just remember this formula here. We are going to do it again. So let me do this for loop again so we can understand how it works. To make a for loop, you do for, just like this. You open and you close, and you open this curly bracket and you open them just like this. You write this however you want, it doesn't matter. And inside this one here, you write the variable that you want to use. Let's say int is equal to, this time I will do the reverse. So of course you can do however you want. This is consider this as a condition, right? So in the last time I did int I is equal to 0, right? This time I will do it equal to 10, and I will put a semicolon like this. And this time I will do what? As long as my I is greater than 0, right? And I will semicolon again, and I will do I, and this time what I'm going to do, it's I minus minus like this, which mean I will be taking 1 every time I execute the for loop. And we are going to do a debug.log again, and we are going to show our value e. So what should happen this time, guys? We should see 10, 9, 8, 7 and stuff like this down to 1. We can't see 0. Why? Because in our condition here is for int, as long as our I is equal to 10 and as long as it's superior strictly to 0, I will take a value from I and I will execute the code. So when we hit I equal to 0, we will get outside the code and we are not going to execute for one more. Okay guys, did you understand this line? So if I go back to Unity here, let me just stop this and clear this area, and let me click play again. We should see here we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 and down to 1. We don't have the value of 0 because, as I said, when our I here gets to equal to 0, it will get outside the code. It will not execute it for more time. This is how the for loop works. Now that we know how to use the for loop, let's go ahead and let's see how we can use the while loop. Now to write the while loop, it's easy, guys. All you have to do is to do this while just like this. You open again those brackets here, and you open and close this curly bracket. It's the same, guys, as the for loop, but there is a difference. Let me just do something here quick. I will do this for loop here, and to create this one here, just so we can have an example. And this area here, let's make it just 10, just like this, so we can have a quick example. Now, as I said before, to create a for loop, we do something like this, right? We make it for, we open, we create a local variable here, we give it a condition on how much time we want to repeat it, and we do a repeat one. It's either going up x plus plus or going down with x minus minus, right? But the while loop doesn't work like this. The while loop will work using condition. If you remember in the last episode, we learned how to use the if statement, right? So I said we can use the if statement with a condition. We always say, if it rains today, what we are going to do? We are not going to go outside, right? If it's sunny, the execution code is we are going outside. So the while loop works the same way. We are going to do something like while condition, something like this. While this condition is correct, look at this condition. While this condition is right, we are going to execute code here. We are going why I have in this stuff like this. Okay, let's just do a comment here. We are going to execute our code. So what is the condition that you can use inside the while? Well, it's basically anything. It depends on the situation you are using it. So let's say, for the sake of this example, I will create a variable named x, and I will give it the value of 5, just like this. And here inside my condition, I will say while my x is superior to 0. So while the x is superior to 0, we are going to execute a code here. And let's do something really easy again. It's just a debug.log, and I want to show the x value. Now, are we done here? I don't think so, but let's give it a try. But before, let me explain. Now you will tell me, you said before we create local variable, so why I didn't create the variable inside here? Why I didn't do this int here and create inside directly? Well, this doesn't work the same as the for loop. For the for loop, you can create the variable and you have control over it because of this semicolon we put here. And in the while loop, we cannot use the semicolon inside this condition here. We cannot. So you need to create your variable outside of it here, and the condition is the only thing that's going to be inside here. And for this I here, where it should be, it will be inside the code here. So what did I just say? We created a variable int, and we used the condition as long as the x is superior to 0. So what should we do to our x? We should do minus minus, right? So as long as x is superior to 0, we are going to debug.log our x value, and we are going to take 1 from x and repeat it as long as x is superior to 0. Let me just save this code here. But before I save this code, I will just comment this one here, just like this, so it will not bother us. And I will save my code here, and I will go back to Unity. Let me just clear this area here, and I will hit play. And notice with me here, we will have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we get outside the while loop. Now, why did we not show the 0 value? As I said, we did say in the condition as long as x superior strictly to 0, which means the moment we get to the value equal to 1, and we are going to show the 1 in the console, and when x equal to 0, we are not going to execute the code and we go outside of it directly. So this is basically how we use it. Now, what if you did a mistake? I'm pretty sure if you are going to test this one in your computer, you may forget to add this one here. And if you don't add this one here, it means we are not going to take 1 from the x value, which means the x will always equal to 5, and x will be always superior to 0, and this code here will always forever execute, which means we are going to have a huge load of stuff in your RAM. So it's really important to do this the right way. So we are going to do it like this. So I hope to see you guys in the next episode. I hope you are motivated to learn more, and I know this is not cool, guys. We are not explaining this in a lot of details, but you will understand step by step when we are going to start using the stuff inside our game, inside our first 2D game. So subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, like if you do like what we do, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. See you soon.